Well, that was a fun first half of football. I mean, it was an ugly win, but a win is a win. You can't complain about that. How's it going, everyone? Bass here. So Packers move on to 11-3, beating the Carolina Panthers 24-16 on Saturday Night Football. A day you're usually not used to watching the Green Bay Packers, and that's why all today I keep thinking it's Monday, and I almost forgot there are other games to be played. So I'm going to start it out with the offense, because the offense started great. So I'm going to start out with the offense. So like I said, they started great, 3 straight touchdown drives, and then nothing. After that, 5 straight punts. The run game was amazing. The run game could not be stopped. Basically, every carry was going for what it seemed like 5+ yards, which is great. Jamal Williams went out early with an injury, but Aaron Jones was pretty much the Aaron Jones show last night. Aaron Jones went 20 for a $145 and a touchdown. That's averaging 7.3 yards per carry, which is very, very insane. A.J. Dillon also got a carry. He got 1 carry for 18 yards, which I thought was a little weird that he got a really, really nice run, and then you didn't see him the rest of the game, especially seeing that Jamal Williams was hurt. I know, obviously, run with the hot hand. Aaron Jones was doing whatever the hell he wanted to against the Carolina Panthers run defense, but it looked like A.J. Dillon could have done that as well. I just thought maybe if he gets an 18-yard carry, one play, you give him another snap or two, or another carry or two later. It was weird to me. So the passing game was really lackluster. After the first few drives, just nothing seemed to work. And it seemed like all day they were trying to go short game, which, you know, could be because the Panthers were covering the long game, because, you know, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers with this team love to take shots down the field, and they weren't allowed to do so last night. So early on, the short game worked, and that's why they scored 3 times quickly. But after a while, and especially in the second half, Carolina picked up on those tendencies even more and started covering the smoke screens more and the quick passes more, and was basically shutting them down. Davante Adams lost his 8-game streak with a touchdown. Davante only had 7 for 42. The leading receiver was actually Allen Lazard with 5 for 56. And then, of course, MVS with a goose egg. His 3rd goose egg of the year. Second one in 3 weeks. Just, he's the embodiment of inconsistency, and I think that might come to hurt the Packers in the playoffs, because if people shut down Tay, like the Panthers were doing, and shading safety cover over him the entire game, you need someone else to step up. Obviously, Robert Tonyan had a touchdown, hitting his 10th touchdown on the year, and Aaron Rodgers' 40th passing touchdown, but you know, you need that number 2 target to take off some of that stress from Davante, and when MVS is playing good, it works perfectly, but you know, you can't have a guy be your number 2 receiver and get, you know, goose eggs so frequently. So Aaron Rodgers went 20 for 29 with a passing touchdown and also a rushing touchdown. Not generally a terrible game by him. 143 yards though, really low net passing yards per play and whatnot. Very, very low. He did run in a touchdown, and he did do the championship belt. I know he was talking about it's not dead on the Pat McAfee show. And he obviously brought it back, which is awesome. I love seeing Aaron Rodgers do the belt celebration, which is great. But the one thing that really hurt Green Bay's offense in the second half, and generally the whole game, was their offensive line. Very uncharacteristic performance from them, especially considering they only allowed, I think, around 14 sacks total this year, and 5 last night. Bakhtiari struggled a little bit, but the one who really concerned me the most, who struggled the most, was Lucas Patrick at that left guard spot. Obviously, he's playing left guard because Elton Jenkins had to move to center because Corey Linsley's on IR, and Lucas Patrick just hasn't been playing well at that spot. I always thought it was kind of weird that they didn't bring in Runyon and keep Patrick at right guard and just keep Billy Turner at the right tackle spot, which he's playing really great at. Billy Turner had a good game last night, but it seemed kind of weird to shuffle the entire 4/5 of the offensive line to different positions. It just seemed a little odd, especially considering John Runyon looked like he had some promise. If Lucas Patrick continues up this play, I can easily see the Packers making that switch to John Runyon. Nothing against Patrick, but you know, you can't let Aaron Rodgers keep getting hit, because that's how he's going to get hurt, and that's how the Packers are going to lose football games. So on to the flip side of the things, we're going to talk about the defense. And usually, it seems like it's so common for the Packers where one side of the ball does amazing, and the other one, you know, and it's either offense or defense. Usually the offense, but when it's the defense plays great, the offense doesn't. It seems they've yet to put together a full, complete game, offense and defense, whether it be the defense collapsing late in the game, allowing garbage touchdowns, garbage points, whatever. But defense played really well last night. They did kind of have a little bit of a collapse, and the pass game was a little shaky. Kevin King got attacked, as he did last week, and I would say these are Kevin King's 2 worst games of the season. Seemed really lazy. There's this one tackle attempt where Darnell Savage tackled, I think it might have been DJ Moore, or was attempting to tackle, and Kevin King kind of just stood there and watched. Just really lazy. I don't know if that's shoulder. He just doesn't want to get hurt, making a business decision because it's contract year. I don't know, but you can't have that. Teams are picking on Kevin King, and he's getting torched. He's just, you know, he recovered a fumble, sure, but it was just right place, right time, really. But back to what the defense did good. The Carolina Panthers had 10 drives on offense, and that only equated into 16 points, which is really good. Adrian Amos, easily the defensive player of the game. Close runner-up would be Chandon Sullivan. Adrian Amos, 7 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and a sack. He had a 91.1 PFF rating. And I will eat my words in saying earlier this year I was saying Amos is playing horrible, which he was. And I said I would really love for him to get back to his 2019 form, which he has, which is amazing. And I think a lot of these last 3 weeks, the defense becoming a more solid unit has to do with the safety play, because Darnell Savage playing is playing at a Pro Bowl level, or should you say All Pro, I guess, because Pro Bowl doesn't really matter, or is there one this year? And then as is Amos these last 3 weeks, if we're just talking about the last 3 weeks, which is, I think, like I said, one of the main reasons why the defense is playing so well. Like I said, a second close would be Chandon Sullivan. I think he played really, really well. He had a 92.5 PFF ranking. A lot of players on defense had an elite or above average PFF ranking, which is great, and it pretty much showed how well these defenders played. So in the linebacker position, Chris Barnes actually got the start over Christian Kirksey. They gave him the communication helmet with the green dot on the back, which is a move I wanted to see for a couple weeks now. I wanted to see more snaps from Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin, and it seems we're finally getting that. As you remember, Chris Barnes had that goal line stop against Teddy Bridgewater where he tried to get the quarterback sneak over the line of scrimmage, and he pretty much this Falcon punched the ball out of his hands, and Kevin King returned it to about the 50-yard line. But Chris Barnes, I think, had a hell of a game. I think he also had he was the 3rd best defender PFF rating with an 87.4. And I believe Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin are easily the future at inside linebacker. With the salary cap issues going into next year, I could easily see Christian Kirksey being cut. He was also only signed to a 2-year deal, so he only has 1 year after this, and he can easily be cut. And actually, the Packers would save money doing so. I just want to see Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin more. They're both young, promising players, and I think they are the future at inside linebacker. A lot of people are saying that inside linebacker is a very big need for the Packers in the offseason, and I disagree. I think cornerback's one of the biggest ones, defensive line as well. I just think cornerback is such a big need because Kevin King is pretty much done in Green Bay, in my opinion. They're not going to be able to re-sign him. He's too injury prone. He's too inconsistent. I just don't think there's a good happy medium in terms of price and value there. I just think they need to move on, whether that be with Kadar Holman. I would say Josh Jackson because I thought he was going to take his role, but now Josh Jackson has 2 healthy scratches, which I have no idea why. It hasn't been said. So generally speaking, the Packers are probably going to have to draft a cornerback in the 1st or 2nd day, which I could easily see them doing. All in all, a win is a win. You know, you can't be mad at a win. You can obviously take the win because a lot of teams barely win. You know, you look at the Jaguars and the Jets, and they would love to have a win. I don't know if they'd love to have a win now because obviously they're both running for Trevor Lawrence. But you have to take a win and love the fact that the Packers are in their own control. They control their own destiny for the #1 seed in the NFC. I'm making this video right before the Saints and the Chiefs play, but everyone should be rooting for the Chiefs tonight because if the Chiefs end up winning, the Packers could still drop a game next week in Tennessee. Sunday night, next week versus Tennessee, Sunday Night Football. If they drop that game, say if the Saints lost today and the Packers lost next week, and then they win against the Bears in Week 17, they could still be #1 seed in the NFC, which is great. I'm not huge on bye weeks. And home field advantage is shaky at best at this point because of COVID precautions and no fans and whatnot, but the cold weather, you know, it's still definitely a factor. So that'll about do it, everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Sunday evening. And as always, go Pack Go.